Good morning, everyone. My name is Jill McEwen, and I'm the Adult Services Manager at the Wilmette Public Library. Thank you so much for joining us today for the candidate forums. Today's program is a Zoom webinar, which means that you can see our panelists, but we cannot see you and we cannot hear you. Your camera and your microphones have been turned off for today. The question and answer and chat portions have already been turned off, as they should have been submitted prior to today. Closed captioning is also on for your convenience. If you cannot see it, you may have settings at the bottom of your screen that you can adjust so you can turn on your own closed captioning. So I'd like to now introduce Cindy Levine, who is the president of the League of Women Voters of Wilmette. Thanks so much.
Thank you, and welcome everybody to the first of our 2 Forum Saturdays for candidates running for municipal office here in Wilmette. My name is Cindy Levine, and I have the honor of serving as president of the Wilmette League this year. I would like to thank the team of people under the leadership of our League Voter Services Chair, Jen Manning, and our communication chairs, Emmy Gergenti and Ann Sullivan, who worked to bring this event to you. We'd like to thank the Wilmette Public Library for its partnership in hosting this event. We appreciate our community for taking the time to attend, and we thank the candidates for their participation. The League of Women Voters of Wilmette is a nonpartisan political organization dedicated to promoting informed and active participation of citizens in government. The League takes positions on issues, but neither endorses nor opposes any candidate for public office. In addition to questions from the League, the public was invited to submit questions for this forum. Among those, the League has selected questions based on appropriateness for the office and that are directed to all candidates and are not duplicative. This forum is being recorded and will be available on YouTube with links to the video on the Wilmette League website. Our moderator today is Kathy Tate Bradish of Evanston, and we will begin with the Forum for Village of Wilmette Board President. Now, Kathy, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Cindy. And thanks to everyone listening. There are hundreds of you, even though you don't see each other. And thanks to the candidates. I am delighted that everyone is here participating in democracy. There are 3 races today, as you know, one almost right after the other with a little break in between so you can run for some more coffee and hear the next races. Names were pulled out of a hat, by the way, and a literal hat for the order of speaking. And we will be switching questions back and forth, who gets first bite at the apple. So we are starting with candidate Kurzman, who will give his opening statement of 2 minutes.
Thank you and good morning. I want to thank the League for hosting this forum and for the role it plays in our community. I've enjoyed working with the League over the years, initially as a member, rolling up my sleeves and assisting the League in its study of our village's stormwater challenges. More recently, as chair of our Public Safety Committee, it was a pleasure to work with the League on gun safety. As you know, I initiated and led the process by which we banned the concealed carry of firearms in establishments serving liquor, a key priority for the League. Here in Wilmette, we are a well-run village with excellent staff doing excellent work. So why is it that so many residents feel unfulfilled by their local government, feel that there is something missing from its leadership, feel that they don't have a voice at Village Hall? The more I talk with residents, the better I understand that people are yearning for authentic, empathic leadership, someone with both the hard and soft skills who can take this village to its next level. The growing sense is, for as well-run a place as the village is, for all the things we enjoy about living in Wilmette, there is a next level for us. We are not yet at our fullest potential. At its core, my candidacy for village president is about facing forward and reaching this fullest potential. With open minds, open hearts, and with empathic, authentic leadership, we can elevate and become the community we all know we can be. I look forward to the discussion this morning, and I hope to earn your support. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Candidate Plunkett.
Good morning. Thank you all for joining us remotely, and thank you to the League for putting this on. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about me. I'm from Chicago. I'm an attorney by profession. I worked at the City of Chicago's law department. I moved to Wilmette 17 years ago with my husband, a 2-year-old, and a baby on the way. And with the hopes that many of you that moved here have, moving to a great village with opportunities for good schools and parks. I didn't know then how great Wilmette was. Even though I lived close, I wasn't familiar with it. And as time went on, I really felt that I was a part of the community and I could contribute to the community. I volunteered in the schools. I was on the executive board of Harper School. After my 3rd child was born, I thought I really want to get involved in local government. I had a passion for that working for the City of Chicago. And so I filled out a talent bank questionnaire and I think I checked all the boxes. I was really willing to jump in and serve wherever I could. A long time later, I was appointed to the Historic Preservation Commission. I think I brought some fresh ideas to that commission and we were able to have a great collaboration with the Historical Museum. I became chair of that commission. Sometime later, I was appointed to the Board of Police and Fire Commissioners. And I think my experience representing police officers and firefighters for the City of Chicago was very helpful in that role. And it was great to learn more about our police department and our fire department. I've been on the board for 6 years now. And I think that I've been able to accomplish many things. We have a fabulous budget. I'm proud of the green initiatives that I have started. And my priorities for the future are to make sure that Wilmette remains the place that people want to move to, that people want to live in, that people are proud to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Plunkett, you take the first question first. And at any time, if either of you would like me to repeat a question, just ask. So here's question number 1. What do you consider the most pressing issues facing Wilmette today, and how will you address them as village president?
I think what's on the minds of most people right now is how are we going to emerge from this post-pandemic life that we live? And so many of those are yet unknown. Certainly for our businesses and economic development, the challenges are obvious. I think that we need to work on attracting new businesses to Wilmette. We need to keep new businesses in Wilmette. The retail landscape was challenging before the pandemic hit, and now so even more. I think there are a number of ways that we can work on economic development. I'm so excited for the streetscape program, the Central Street reconstruction, which should be completed at the end of June. I think it's going to add to our vibrant downtown. I think we need to look outside the box when we attract businesses. We will be getting a bump from our online sales tax revenue. And I think that some of that money we could use toward investing in our businesses. We already have the Wilmetteonomics campaign. We already have, we've had some business grants through the pandemic. We've had business grants in the past for signs. And now I think we need to look at possible business grants to help economic development and to help our businesses in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Kurzman, same question.
It's a great question. I'm on a similar thought process that economic development is critical. Our village has not turned over every stone in terms of the opportunities of bringing people to visit our businesses. I believe that we need to take a more professional approach to economic development, one that measures results. And I consistently pose the question whether we have enough resources dedicated to economic development. And so I would certainly defer to professionals, but I bring my own set of ideas and I share those on the campaign trail. I really think we need to drive people from our lakefront attractions like Gilson Park and from the Baha'i Temple to our downtown. And the same could be said west to east, sending people from Eden's Plaza to our downtown. I also think storefront vacancies are on people's minds. And, you know, right now, not only are we addressing and trying to grapple with the changing state of retail, but we also have, you know, some landlords that have, you know, mixed intentions at best. And so I think we need to be able to engage and make public policy that will really give us our best opportunity for success in economic development. I think people also recognize that we want to maintain our small town feel, but I think we're sort of having some tensions about how we develop our downtown, and that will be a considerable topic moving forward.
Thank you. And then Candidate Kurzman, you take the second question first. I won't keep repeating that every time. What, if any, are your priorities and plans for infrastructure issues in Wilmette?
Thank you, I appreciate that. Certainly, I would want to keep the neighborhood storage project on schedule. There are a lot of moving pieces with it, but I would like that to be moving forward and staying on schedule. I'm also real active with the capital improvement plan, the CIP, and that has yielded great results for one of the 3 areas of emphasis for my candidacy, which is outlined in my answer in the voter's guide, and that is around pedestrian and vehicular safety. I really want to continue the progress we've made with our major redos of intersections like Skokie-Hibbard. That came out great. I really like how the North Bridge, the Glenview Road overpass was done, Locust Road, and now we've got the big one coming up on Skokie and Lake, our #1 accident-prone intersection. And I do think that these infrastructure projects that improve the walking, biking, and driving safety of our residents are exceedingly important. And so as far as infrastructure goes, I really want to make sure that our roads, our sidewalks are passable for people of all abilities, people with disabilities, seniors, kids getting to school. That will be my priority for infrastructure.
Thank you. Candidate Plunkett?
Thank you. The neighborhood storage project is well underway. We are in phase 2. The project is proceeding on time and a little bit under budget, thanks to our wonderful bond results. So I think that is proceeding well, and I'm really excited that it is going as smoothly as it is. In the last couple of years, we have made significant investments to our road program, and we intend to keep doing that. It's important to invest in our roads because resurfacing a street costs a lot less than reconstructing the street. And so we looked at this really on a cost basis formula. Where do we have our roads to have them be the most efficient that we can? One of the other major infrastructure investments that we will be making, and we have been making, is to our water department. Our water treatment facility is our biggest asset, and we actually sell more water to customers outside Wilmette than we use in Wilmette. But our water plant just went through a series of electrical upgrades. It was a significant investment. In the next couple of years, we're going to need to reconstruct a new intake crib. We also will be embarking on a water main replacement program. And hopefully the new customers that we have brought on will help subsidize that. But our water department is literally the village's biggest asset, and we need to focus on that in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Plunkett, you take this question. First, where on your list of priorities does the Master Bike and Active Transportation Plan fall? And what plans do you have to seek grant funding for it?
I think the Master Bike and Active Transportation Plan, number one, so excited that it passed and it had unanimous support from the board. So there's obviously momentum going forward for that plan. I believe that it will be incorporated into our comprehensive plan. And I'm very excited about that, along with our sustainability. And I think when we talk about our Master Bike and Active Transportation Plan, we have to talk about sustainability at the same time. They go hand in hand. And I believe that they will both be incorporated into our new comprehensive plan. The plan is going to be implemented in 2 ways. Number one, when we talk about our road program every year, we are going to look at projects that we have planned and how can we implement the Master Bike Plan at the same time. Secondly, it is the perfect opportunity to seek grant funding. We're currently working on seeking grant funding, and I believe that we're in phase 1 engineering for a side path right now on Skokie Boulevard north of Lake. The Skokie Valley Trail is something also that we will be seeking grant funding for our portion of the trail. So having the plan itself is the vehicle for seeking grants. And there are so many grants out there, and our engineering department is really fantastic about going out and getting them. So as a matter of incorporating into our road program, seeking grant funding, I'm excited for the future of Wilmette on the active transportation field.
Thank you. Candidate Kurzman, same question.
Yes, thank you. So I also supported the active transportation plan, but I do think residents would feel, I think they are looking for some amount of assurance that the board, including its village president, will review all its elements and make determinations on these elements over time. And that to support the plan is to not support everything in it. There are some things in there that have drawn resident concern. And I would want residents to know that as village president, I will be sensitive to concerns about things in the plan, but it doesn't stop my starting place, which is to have a posture of being strongly supportive of improving, again, to my ongoing priorities, both as a candidate 4 years ago and now as a candidate again, about improving the walking, biking, and driving of this village. So I would like to start there. I do think that staff has done a fantastic job when it comes to our streets and roads and all aspects of the upcoming implementation of securing federal funds. We've had upwards of 70% federal funds for some of our big street redos. So clearly it's a strong skill set of our village staff, and I will foster that to improve our walking and biking in the village.
Thank you. And then Candidate Kurzman, this is your question first. What is your position on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion? And what do you believe the board's priority should be in this area?
That is a really great question. And I hope people have read my written submission to the league. And those of you who've been on video chats with me know that I am all things about equitability in this village. I really believe that even just by hanging a shingle that says welcome, we could really improve the diversity and inclusion in our village. If people have read my comments to the administration committee over the summer, you can see that I offered some concrete strategies for how I think we could become more welcoming. Because sadly, I do think that diverse populations who can afford market rate homes, for example, choose to live elsewhere, and that's really disappointing. Some of my economic development strategies of driving people from the lakefront to the village should also help, because I think the more time that people spend with us, the more they'll want to live here. I also think that frontline staff, police and fire, need to reflect society at large, not just the current demographics of the village. This will go a long way. I also believe that recruiting several pillars of the community, minority-owned businesses, will also be, a really strong strategy for attracting diverse populations to join us. And finally, we need to celebrate the diversity we do have. We have in pockets of Wilmette, especially in the Ramona and Avoca West districts, a phenomenal amount of diversity, and I'm not sure it's recognized. We need to celebrate it, and I think that'll also help us put our best welcoming foot forward.
Thank you. Candidate Plunkett?
Thank you. I'm proud of the board statement this summer that reaffirmed the board's commitment to fostering an inclusive environment where people of all racial, ethnic, cultural, sexual orientation feel welcome. And now we need to make sure that we're implementing that on a daily basis. I am so excited to welcome members of the new Human Relations Commission and the Housing Commission. And listening to them speak and hearing their backgrounds at the board meeting was very inspiring. I know that the Human Relations Commission is already starting and they will be hosting listening sessions with the community. And I think that that is going to be very important to get ideas, listen to people, see how they want to move forward on this. So I think that is a great first step. Secondly, I worked on the Police and Fire Commission, and I was so impressed by the caliber of our police officers and firefighters. I will say the candidate pool that we choose from is not as diverse as we would like. That would be a recruitment issue, and something that we can think about. The board is also going to be looking at a minority enterprise program this year. How do we attract minority-owned businesses to the community? And I think that that is going to go far in making all people in our community feel like they belong here, and just getting other community groups involved in our board government.
Thank you. And then Candidate Plunkett, you take this next question first. What are the affordable housing opportunities within Wilmette, and how will you advance the goals of the affordable housing plan?
We have a number of senior affordable housing buildings, and in the past, in recent history, Mallinckrodt added 15% affordable housing. But I'd say in recent history, we've made a lot of strides toward affordable housing. We broke ground in November on an affordable housing development on Wilmette Avenue, and that will have 16 units, the first dedicated for non-senior affordable housing in Wilmette. And another great thing that we did is through the Optima development, I supported a partnership with SEPA, which is the Community Partners for Affordable Housing. And that partnership will be taking a significant donation from Optima, $1.6 million. And through land trust and other donations and tax considerations can turn that into $2.4 million and 14 more scattered site affordable housing units in Wilmette, both for home ownership and rental. I'm very excited for the new Housing Commission because I think that they should have a significant role in the PUD process, and that when a developer comes to Wilmette, that they should, like they do for the Appearance Review Commission now, go in front of the Housing Commission. The Housing Commission can report back to the board as to the plans and use their expertise to make suggestions to developers.
Thank you. Candidate Kurzman.
Thank you. I certainly hear from residents all the time about their desire to have a more comprehensive, more thoughtful approach to affordable housing in our community. And I respect that. You know, lately there's been some amount of tension with our being home rule and whether we're totally complying in the spirit of the Affordable Housing Planning and Appeals Act of Illinois. And, you know, we have to work these things through. I certainly think we should maintain our home rule status, but I do think that there's more work to be done in the affordable housing issue. I think of it as we need a portfolio of affordable housing options. You know, we can't have it all in congregate buildings. We can't have it all in single family homes. You know, we need to have an array of options that will make our village, you know, available, accessible to people who would maybe not otherwise be able to join us. And so that's sort of my approach to it. You know, affordable housing, you know, is an asset to our community. I feel strongly that we're better when we are welcoming, and I didn't get to throw this into my previous answer, so I'd like the question coming now, but this is also a way that we can increase the diversity of our village. And so you will find in me as village president a strong advocate for affordable housing, including being open to an inclusionary ordinance.
Thank you. I'm going to make an executive decision here so we can get an extra question in. Let's make this only 60-second answers. Candidate Kurzman, you take this one first. What are your commitments, if any, to environmental and sustainability initiatives?
No, it's a great question. I mean, in 60 seconds, thanks so much for this. So I think the active transportation piece is where I'm strongest, because I do think that there are both environmental and public health issues at play. And I do think that, you know, whole generations of kids, if they're not walking or biking to school, does not serve us well for the environment with unnecessary car trips, etc. But to environmental issues per se, I'm looking forward to recommendations coming from the Environmental and Energy Commission. I will be open to those because I'm a staunch supporter of the environment, both at home, as you will see online, and as a matter of public policy. So I look forward to those recommendations, and this will be a priority for me as village president.
Thank you. Candidate Plunkett.
Thank you. All right, this is something near and dear to my heart. So I helped bring what is now going to be the sustainability plan to Wilmette. We signed on to the Greenest Regions Compact, and now the EEC has worked so hard to develop a sustainability plan that the village is going to be reviewing this spring. I also brought the Stormwater Incentive Program to Wilmette, a cost-sharing landscape program. I am so excited to work with the EEC. They have identified 3 priorities to begin with: renewable energy, our urban forest, and pollinator-friendly dark sky programs. And I will support them in every step of the way as they go forward. I believe our sustainability plan should be incorporated into our comprehensive plan, and that it will be something that we will look to, from electric charging stations to our green roof on the water plant, to our LED streetlights, to the renewable energy that the village that's in the stormwater pumping station.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we are on to closing statements, and you have 1 minute each for your closing statements. Candidate Plunkett, you go first.
Okay, thank you. I got a question recently at a Zoom coffee that asked me to look into the future and said, if I was village president, how would I define success? And I'm going to say that in 2 ways. First, are we working to accomplish the priorities that we set forth? Our financial stability, revitalizing our business districts, continuing to invest in our infrastructure, following the recommendations of the sustainability plan, and increasing opportunities for participation. But secondly, and an equally important part of this answer, is how are we going to accomplish these goals? Are we going to accomplish them in an atmosphere of respect and understanding? Did we listen to our residents? Did we listen to our business community? Did we accept the recommendations of our boards and commissions? Are we as a board going to work together to find common ground? And I think if we can answer yes to these questions, that will define success.
Thank you. Candidate Kurzman.
Thank you again to the League for hosting this forum. I believe the village presidency should be earned. It should not be anointed or bequeathed. I also believe this election is about leadership and track record. Who leads on challenging issues? Who takes difficult votes? Who engages the community? Who makes outreach to all people, all neighborhoods, and all points of view? This is why my campaign is resonating. It's because we are running for president. Sure, the name on the ballot may be mine, but the voice will be yours. And together, we can write our next chapter at Village Hall. So I'm asking for your vote, and I'm also asking for your help. Please visit joelforwilmette.com to join this movement. And thank you so much again for the opportunity today to share some thoughts with you.
Thanks very much to both of you. On behalf of your audience of hundreds, I am applauding your candidates. It's very disconcerting to do this and not get feedback from your audience. But those of you at home, I hope you're clapping in your kitchens or your bedrooms or wherever you're hiding from the kids so that you can hear this.
In recent history, Mallinckrodt added 15% affordable housing. But I'd say in recent history, we've made a lot of strides toward affordable housing. We broke ground in November on an affordable housing development on Wilmette Avenue, and that will have 16 units, the first dedicated for non-senior affordable housing in Wilmette. And another great thing that we did is through the Optima development, I supported a partnership with CEPA, which is the Community Partners for Affordable Housing. And that partnership will be taking a significant donation from Optima, $1.6 million. And through land trust and other donations and tax considerations can turn that into $2.4 million and 14 more scattered site affordable housing units in Wilmette, both for home ownership and rental. I'm very excited for the new Housing Commission because I think that they should have a significant role in the PUD process, and that when a developer comes to Wilmette, that they should like they do for the Appearance Review Commission now, go in front of the Housing Commission. The Housing Commission can report back to the board as to the plans and use their expertise to make suggestions to developers.
Thank you. Candidate Kurzman.
Thank you. I certainly hear from residents all the time about their desire to have a more comprehensive, more thoughtful approach to affordable housing in our community. And I respect that. You know, lately there's been some amount of tension with our being home rule and whether we're totally complying in the spirit of the Affordable Housing Planning and Appeals Act of Illinois. And, you know, we have to work these things through. I certainly think we should maintain our home rule status, but I do think that there's more work to be done in the affordable housing issue. I think of it as we need a portfolio of affordable housing options. You know, we can't have it all in congregate buildings. We can't have it all in single family homes. You know, we need to have an array of options that will make our village, you know, available, accessible to people who would maybe not otherwise be able to join us. And so that's sort of my approach to it. You know, affordable housing, you know, is an asset to our community. I feel strongly that we're better when we are welcoming, and I didn't get to throw this into my previous answer, so I'd like the question coming now, but this is also a way that we can increase the diversity of our village. And so you will find in me as village president a strong advocate for affordable housing, including being open to an inclusionary ordinance.
Thank you. I'm going to make an executive decision here so we can get an extra question in. Let's make this only 60-second answers. Candidate Kurzman, you take this one first. What are your commitments, if any, to environmental and sustainability initiatives?
No, it's a great question. I mean, in 60 seconds, thanks so much for this. So I think the active transportation piece is where I'm strongest, because I do think that there are both environmental and public health issues at play. And I do think that, you know, whole generations of kids, if they're not walking or biking to school, does not serve us well for the environment with unnecessary car trips, et cetera. But to environmental issues per se, I'm looking forward to recommendations coming from the Environmental and Energy Commission. I will be open to those because I'm a staunch supporter of the environment, both at home, as you will see online, and as a matter of public policy. So I look forward to those recommendations, and this will be a priority for me as village president.
Thank you. Candidate Plunkett.
Thank you. All right, this is something near and dear to my heart. So I helped bring what is now going to be the sustainability plan to Wilmette. We signed on to the Greenest Regions Compact, and now the EEC has worked so hard to develop a sustainability plan that the village is going to be reviewing this spring. I also brought the Stormwater Incentive Program to Wilmette, a cost-sharing landscape program. I am so excited to work with the EEC. They have identified 3 priorities to begin with: renewable energy, our urban forest, and pollinator-friendly dark sky programs. And I will support them in every step of the way as they go forward. I believe our sustainability plan should be incorporated into our comprehensive plan, and that it will be something that we will look to, from electric charging stations to our green roof on the water plant, to our LED street lights, to the renewable energy that the village that's in the stormwater pumping station.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we are on to closing statements, and you have 1 minute each for your closing statements. Candidate Plunkett, you go first.
Okay, thank you. I got a question recently at a Zoom coffee that asked me to look into the future and said, if I was village president, how would I define success? And I'm going to say that in 2 ways. First, are we working to accomplish the priorities that we set forth? Our financial stability, revitalizing our business districts, continuing to invest in our infrastructure, following the recommendations of the sustainability plan, and increasing opportunities for participation. But secondly, and an equally important part of this answer, is how are we going to accomplish these goals? Are we going to accomplish them in an atmosphere of respect and understanding? Did we listen to our residents? Did we listen to our business community? Did we accept the recommendations of our boards and commissions? Are we as a board going to work together to find common ground? And I think if we can answer yes to these questions, that will define success.
Thank you. Candidate Kurzman.
Thank you again to the League for hosting this forum. I believe the village presidency should be earned. It should not be anointed or bequeathed. I also believe this election is about leadership and track record. Who leads on challenging issues? Who takes difficult votes? Who engages the community? Who makes outreach to all people, all neighborhoods, and all points of view? This is why my campaign is resonating. It's because we are running for president. Sure, the name on the ballot may be mine, but the voice will be yours. And together, we can write our next chapter at Village Hall. So I'm asking for your vote, and I'm also asking for your help. Please visit joelforwilmette.com to join this movement. And thank you so much again for the opportunity today to share some thoughts with you.
Thanks very much to both of you. On behalf of your audience of hundreds, I am applauding your candidates. It's very disconcerting to do this and not get feedback from your audience. But those of you at home, I hope you're clapping in your kitchens or your bedrooms or wherever you're hiding from the kids so that you can hear this. In 10 minutes at 9:40, you please stay tuned for the Board of Trustees Forum. And as a reminder to our two candidates who are on now, you